girls always ask me like, oh, what's your zodiac sign? I'm like, I'm a Gemini. And they're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, ew, two-faced, you know? To be honest, I'm not two-faced, I'm 10-faced. Like, if I really think about it, there's 10 different sides of me that a lot of times, you know, contradict each other. I still remember I was sitting upstairs and I really thought about like, what would the perfect human be described as? And when you ask that question, you find out that whatever answer you come up with will result in a paradox. The perfect framework for creating a perfect human.
So you need to level up each metasaur in order for you to become metasaur number 0.
Okay. Hello, hello.
Hello.
So, welcome. We have a lot to talk about today, mainly pertaining to self-actualization, and basically mastering yourself across all domains of life. So, where should we start?
Let's start with, what do you mean by self? Is it your self-identity? Is it your self-awareness? What is it exactly do you mean by self-domain?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question. When I say self-actualization, you know, I believe everyone is one of one. Okay, I know that sounds cliche or cheesy, but there's literally, you know, 8 billion perspectives, okay, on this earth. So self-actualization is mostly removing all of the clutter that has stopped us from becoming our true selves. So actualizing the self is basically bringing that authentic nature from inside, from deep down, from under all of this bullshit that we've stacked on top of it, or the masks we've placed, and shining our light to the world. So to do that obviously is must be our life's work. Must be our life's work. So we all have our unique connection with the divine, right?
Definitely.
Almost like branches from a tree. But then that goes into non-duality, which we can bring into this topic as well. But actualizing the self is nothing more than just removing these blocks and then understanding, equipping yourself with the tools to bring that true self into fruition so that you can bear fruit out of your branch.
That's nice. That's exactly what I mean by higher self. From before, I used to think that higher self is more like the improved self, you know, the self with who I want to be. But then I realized like it's more my higher self is my authentic self. So it's the self without the trauma or the conditioning. So it's like me being the truest form of me.
So what does that look like for you?
It looks like many stuff. I can't like pinpoint, you know, that's the way it looks like. But I think it's when I ask myself, what does Noor, the higher self of me, want in that situation, or want to do when it's not pleasing others, when it's not wanting to fit in. It's coming from within and not external factors. So there's like a few questions that I ask myself before doing something to know if it's coming from the true self of me versus the, for lack of a better word, superficial me, the one who wants to go with the flow, the one who wants to please others, you know. I'd ask myself, okay, why do you want to do this? Is it
Mhm.
because that's the way you're wired? Is that because it's what is expected from me? Or is it me to people please others? Or is it something that I want to do from inside?
Mhm.
What about
Yeah,
you?
that's a very good point. So the way I see it is, you know, to add on to your point, there's definitely a balance we must strike. And so that is where I believe the 10 metasaurs, if you haven't seen it already, anyone that's listening, there are 10 archetypes that I believe are the tenets that we must strive to synthesize into ourselves. And each one can be used as a tool or as a weapon. And so it took me a lot of time, even after laying those 10 metasaurs out, it took me a lot of time to, begin to master each domain. So I'm working
So the
on
10
building these up.
metasaurs. So the 10 metasaurs, you think everyone has this within them? It's inside everyone, these like 10 archetypes? Or do
Mhm.
you think it's like I have a specific archetype? Could
So
you tell us more?
yeah, technically, we all have these 10 archetypes ingrained into our psyche, because they are all the 10 traits of a fully self-actualized person. And since we are the creation of God or infinite intelligence or infinite consciousness, whatever you want to call it, any trait that you describe God as, we have
You
within
have.
us. So it's whether we polish that trait or not. For example, having full confidence, which is metasaur number 10. If you look at your paper, convictosaurus, that is the archetype of 100% commitment, conviction, delusional confidence. Okay. And you can already see, just by me saying that, it can be used as a weapon or it can be used as a tool. So, you can maybe name some, celebrities or whatever that have used this as a tool, their self-confidence and conviction, and some that have used it as a weapon to harm others and ultimately themselves. Right?
Definitely. So how does one work on an archetype to make it better? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I really do one archetype more than the other, but I would like to strengthen this archetype within me.
Yeah, so that's actually a very, very good question. We must initially understand that there's an intricate balance that connects all of these 10 archetypes. Affecting one is going to indirectly affect another. So if you become, for example, number 2, which is the open-minded, multi-perspectival archetype, the more open-minded you become, sometimes the less confidence you will have, because you're just open to accepting anything, right? So first of all, you must understand that there is a profound interconnectedness between all of these metasaurs. That's number 1. Number 2, you must really be honest with yourself. And I'll give you this quick story. Actually, this happened to me last week. You must really understand which of these 10 metasaurs are harming you. You know, you must be honest with yourself. And wherever you're stuck in life, really ask yourself, which of these 10 metasaurs am I using as a weapon? And so the other day, I was just, you know, I just realized that I was born. And by the way, recently I saw this study that parental traits actually are encoded in the sperm's DNA.
Yeah, I
so,
watched that video. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So you probably sent it to me. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I really had to, like, not just take a look at myself and be honest with myself, but also look at my father, his father. I started asking them stories, you know, how did you grow up? What happened here? What happened there? Just to dive deeper into, you know, my bloodline. So I realized in myself that I have fallen into the trap of weaponizing metasaur number 1 and metasaur number 9. One being over philosophizing and, you know, just living in here, living in the mind, okay, over questioning, overly skeptical, and then also number 9, which is megalovon, the optimizer, you know, just trying to optimize everything, you know, how I look, how I present myself, how my workflow is, my schedule, all of that. And obviously you can't keep up. You can't keep up with optimizing everything,
Definitely.
just as a starter, but also just living in that mentality for a long time, it tints your lens and your outlook on life. And you basically, the first thing you notice about anything that comes into your awareness is, how can I make this better? You know, how can I make this business better? How can I do this, do that better? So while it is good and this will help you grow, you must balance it with, for example, number 6, which is zenith. This is the mindful archetype. This is the archetype that just exists, is just present, and, you know, just shows this innate gratitude for life and whatever situation you're in. So I had to integrate that aspect. So I just want you to see all of these metasaurs as like knobs, you know. You got to tune everyone. You got to tune every single archetype. So yeah, that is the mission that I'm on, and I hope that everyone listening is on as well.
To tell us more, like, how did you come up with these 10 archetypes, and why are they not 11, for example? And I see like different archetypes, and I can see, and one is about open-mindedness, other is about like confidence. But what do you feel, from where did, you know, هدول, are they characteristics or are they things that you feel? So there are stuff that are within you and that you empower, but they aren't characteristics. They're more, they have to do with your identity. Tell us more.
Definitely identity. That's a good question, because identity is actually what, you know, manifests everything in our lives. So yeah, I would say, I mean, to be honest, I was always asked, you know, like, girls always ask me like, oh, what's your zodiac sign? I'm like, I'm a Gemini. And they're like, oh my God, ew, two-faced, you know? I'm like, to be honest, I'm not two-faced, I'm 10-faced. Like, if I really think about it, I'm 10-faced. There's 10 different sides of me that a lot of times, contradict each other. Sometimes I'm like, okay, we gotta hustle, we gotta grind through this, all of that. I'm on 3 hours of sleep right now. I'm talking to you on 3 hours of sleep. And today, I'm just that's what I am. Okay, I'm okay with that. On other days, I'm like, okay, no, 3 hours of sleep, nah, you gotta chill, like take a break, calm down, rest, recover. So I just mapped those whole identities out, and I also, like, in parallel, what I did, I still remember I was sitting upstairs in the building. I actually took like a 6-month break from making content, and I just sat down and I really thought about, like, what would the perfect human be? What would the perfect human be described as? Okay. And when you ask that question, you find out that whatever answer you come up with will result in a paradox. Because you could say the perfect human is strong, but also soft and warm.
Definitely.
Right? You could say the perfect person is open-minded, but he is also confident. So just listing them out, I mean, I could run through them like really quick right now if you'd like. So number one is if you really ask yourself, what is the perfect human? Okay, number one, it is someone that is philosophical, is skeptical and questions things, and not just questions things, questions their own questioning. Okay. Number two is open-minded, creative, multi-perspectival. Okay, that's two. Number three is detached. So someone that is detached from outcome. Someone that is passive, And by the way, as I list these out, you will begin to notice, okay, if I take this too far, I'm fucked.
That's true.
Right?
Because
but if
the detached version is someone like that doesn't get influenced easily, but also like that's arrogant. So it's like you have to balance it out.
Exactly. Spot on. So that's number three, is detached from outcome. Number four is mystical. A lot of scientifically minded individuals don't have that aspect. They've lost it. They've lost mystifying life and seeing the beauty in the simple things, and just seeing beauty in the veins in their arms, like the creation of the human being. They all try to demystify it by just saying, oh, it's just a bunch of atoms. You don't even know what the fucking atom is. Like, science still hasn't gotten to that point. They don't know what atoms are. Like, they can only label things, but they've demystified things to such a point where they've lost that mystical nature. So that's number four. Number five is someone that is adaptable. Being adaptable, being actually experimental with your beliefs. A lot of times we theorize, but we don't put into action what we theorize. Even people that are religious, they know all of these. They know all of these, like, tenets, whatever. and they don't embody it. They don't experiment with it. So that's number 5, adomorphous, someone that is, adaptable, but also like materializes and embodies
Their teaching.
their teachings or whatever's in their mind,
Yeah.
That's number 5. Number 6 is mindfulness. Having that mindfulness, we just spoke about it, just being, just existing, being just minimalistic, not very materialistic, just becoming one with God, nature, the universe, whatever. Bless you.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's number 6. Number 7 is strength, resilience, and courage. Me being on 3 hours of sleep right now and still operating at my highest potential, that shows strength, resilience, and pushing through any fatigue. Okay, so that's strength, resilience.
But it doesn't show mindfulness.
Was it what?
But it doesn't show mindfulness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, and actually, we'll get into that actually later. But number 6 and number 7 are actually a couple. so
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, that's number 7. Basically, voluntary hardship and being okay with struggle. Okay, that's good. But also can be used as a weapon. A lot of people, those like fucking everyday cold shower, let's fucking do it. Yeah, let's fucking, bro, chill out. Like smell the fucking roses, like relax. So that's good. Like that's good to embody that trait, but balance it out with the others. And then number 8 is selfless contribution. Selfless contribution, contributing to the greater good of humanity, your society, your family, your country, whatever you want to do. So just selfless contribution, that is very important in creating the perfect human. Number 9 is, we spoke about it, optimization. Having that hunger for growth, having that hunger for more, becoming a better version of yourself. So that's basically like 90% of the self-help space. But if you only take self-help as this, just having this optimizer mindset, you can see it's very one-dimensional.
Yeah.
So 90% of self-help is just optimize, be better. Okay, that's number 9. Number 10 is 100% commitment, conviction, self-confidence, and belief in yourself, having faith in your abilities, and confidence stemming from competence, being competent as well. So yeah, these are the 10. What do you think about this whole like balance, these 10 tenets and facets of a perfect human?
They're very interesting and very true, I'd say. Like every metasaur you went into, I was like, okay, yeah, I like that. I wanna adopt that into me. I want to strengthen that within me, like that type of thing. But a question that came to mind was, how does that go with authenticity? So for you to be authentically you, but at the same time, you want to adopt these traits. But how does one do that, you would say?
Beautiful question. I would say there's something that I did not mention, and that is metasaur number 0. Okay. Metasaurus, that's what I call it. So this metasaur is actually the one that synthesizes them all based on his authentic self. Okay, so some people, we can't all be the same. You know, we can't just all be like the same fucking copy paste human being. To some extent there will be variation, and this variation is healthy for humanity, but this variation will actually depend on your authentic self. And so synthesizing them all is not just, you know, just finding like the perfect balance, you know, like that. For some people it would look like this, some people it would look like this, some people it would look like this, you know, trying to tune all of them. So just you looking at it, you could probably tell me like right now, okay, me, I identify myself, Noor, the highest version of myself, is one that is a bit more selfless and giving, compared to you know, optimizing or 100% conviction, you know. That is your authentic self. So and the thing is, this is how I see it. And actually I really don't see anyone speaking about this when they talk about, you know, personality traits, models, you know the ocean, five big personality traits.
Yeah.
There's a bunch out there. I don't see anyone talking about, you know, trying to balance these out, because if you are someone that is very extroverted, okay, if you are someone that is very extroverted, be extroverted, you know, just, it's fine. Yeah, you're 100% okay. But it's when introversion becomes your weakness, that is when you get into trouble in life, because you're not going to be with people 24/7. You could design your life around just being around people, but you miss out on the dynamic nature and essence of life.
Yeah.
Exactly. You lose your voice, you lose your
reflect your inner speakings, I would say.
Your inner voice. Exactly, you're right. So if you are an extrovert, it's fine. You can be like more of an extrovert than an introvert, but don't make introversion your weakness. Try and build that up a bit, you know. So when it comes to the 10 metasaurs, if you are more of a selfless person, that's fine. Keep doing you. We need that. But understand that if you are selfless 24/7, you will lose yourself. You will burn out. Literally, you will burn out. You will dissipate into the collective. So to truly be selfless and have the most contribution and impact on the world, you must take care of the self as well. So that is what I'm talking about. You could choose your
so it's about
variations.
Also like finding your flow, in which like this is your variation. You know, I am a bit of this is my equation. I'm a bit of this and a bit of that. And then you find like how with these 10 things, how are you going to be in harmony with them?
Exactly. So I want you now, anyone that's listening as well, like just imagine what humanity would look like if we embodied this balance and understood our own variation, our own healthy variation, and balance of all of these archetypes and metasaurs. What do you think would come of that?
Optimization, for sure.
Mm-hmm. You know what I would say?
Yeah.
Evolution. Evolution of collective consciousness. That's what it would entail. So yeah, that's the mission we're on. That is the true mission we are all on.
And how does one do that? So what would you think, Annie? There's, as you said, there's these personality tests. I feel like it does help you look into who you are. But also, it's not just that. It's not just knowing who you are. It's also believing who you should be, for lack of a better word. What speaks to you. Tell us, how does one do that? How can I say I am a bit of this metasaur and this metasaur, and I'm actually, for me to be my higher self or my best self would be if I take this, and that. Work on metasaur number 6 as well. Like, how does one come up with their own unique equation?
Yeah, that's a beautiful follow-up question, because you know, we speak about metasaurs, and if we really look at the just this distinction of metasaurs, there's the word meta, right? We have the word meta, and what that means is, you know, in simple terms, or I don't know if this is simple or not, but deconstructing boundaries of perception. Okay, so to really understand your voice, your own, you know, equation, as you would like to say, or variation, begin to live life from the perspective of metasaur number 0, and look at all of your actions. You know, just try this for the next week. Notice your thoughts. So don't just think thoughts. Notice these thoughts. If you're feeling a certain way, if you feel happy, notice, okay, what made me happy? Okay, maybe it's you know, learning, that's what made me happy, or optimizing myself, that's what made me happy. And then what made you sad? Why do you feel stuck right now? And then ask yourself. So it all starts with questioning, which is why the Velociraptor is number 1. Okay, because it starts with questioning your beliefs and your way of doing things, your way of life, your behaviors, your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs. So in everyday life, you can't just, I mean, you could just sit down right now and give yourself some time to ask yourself, but it would be much more beneficial to like have this mentality for the next week and notice yourself living life. Be curious. Foster that curiosity. Think about, okay, what led to this situation right now? Oh, it's because I'm not taking care of my health, for example. That means you need to embody more of metasaur number 9. Begin optimizing yourself, your sleep, your nutrition, your diet. If the answer is, oh, why am I tired today? Oh, it's because that girl blocked me. Okay. Okay, why is that the case? And then you dive deeper into that, and then you will, just through questioning, you will find out out of this framework of the 10 metasaurs, you will find out where you are stuck. And that is the first step. Second step would be to begin to strengthen that metasaur. Because that metasaur, that side of you, that aspect of you, that facet of perfect human, a perfect human, has been neglected. So just shine light onto that and then begin to build that metasaur.
Interesting. I like that they put them into metasaurs عشان it removes the aspect of shame. You know, when you like have them as like just metasaurs, then I can be like, okay, yeah, you know, like metasaur number 10, which is confidence. You know, I can look at that and be like, okay, yeah, maybe I should tune down metasaur number 10 when it comes to people telling me or when it comes to learning feedback. You know what I mean? So it's like, it removes the aspect of shame عشان for you to be able to look inside yourself and be like, okay, what is this metasaur trying to tell me? Or what do I need to tune down from this metasaur?
That's beautiful the way you said it, because you know it makes me think about, you know, this quote by Picasso, I believe. He says, learn the rules like a pro and then break them like an artist. And so even though I'm giving you literally the perfect framework for creating a perfect human, and I truly believe that, at one point you must let go of this whole framework, you know? So at one point, you know, it's good to think in terms of, okay, I'm going to level down this metasaur. He's like, in terms of when I get into arguments, I'm too confident, and maybe I need to tone that down and listen to the other person's perspective. I gotta have an open mind, which is number 2. Eventually that will become habit, and eventually that will become, you will stop living in your mind and it will become a part of you, become a part of your identity. And at that point, you can let that go. You can let this whole framework go, and you will basically embody zero, metasaur 0. So yeah, me personally, I still haven't gotten to that point. You know, I still haven't gotten to the point where I'm gonna let this framework go, but I know eventually I will, because I would have embodied all the aspects perfectly according to my authentic self.
It's interesting. I said you need to level up in each metasaur in order for you to become metasaur number 0. Right?
Exactly.
Become your own authentic self that has these metasaurs embodied that you graduated from.
Exactly. There's a graduation coming for all of us, as long as we you know, go through this framework. So, and you can already see, like, I know you wanted to ask me about, you know, flow. We wanted to discuss it. Do you see how that ties into flow and, you know, flow state?
I was just gonna say, because for me, what I was gonna say, like, flow is like a way of being, and it's where your inner world and outer world move in harmony. So I was just gonna say, like, it's part of, with the metasaurs, I feel like it's part of you understanding your inner world and using it to move in harmony with your outer world.
I love that. Tell me more about that.
So it's just like you said, it's like when you know when to alter what and for what reason. It's like listening to yourself and having the confidence to listen to yourself, because like all of us know what we need to do, kind of. Yes, I need to strengthen this metasaur. I need to tune down this metasaur. I need to work on this. I need to listen to myself when I talk about this. And also we know when it's stemming from your higher self versus it's stemming from as a reaction or as the voice that's trying to shame you. No, we have this within us. We just need to know how to listen to that part of ourselves.
Yep. Yeah, that also, to add on to that, the reason, or I would say how we could use our conscious mind is to basically program the subconscious mind. So
Definitely.
even though the subconscious mind
Is a
as shown in studies as well, as shown in studies, is it controls all of your life. So use the conscious mind, whatever percentage it is, like 10% or whatever. Use the conscious mind to change your subconscious mind if you don't like it. If you believe there's a true your true, highest spiritual self that you're striving for, use your conscious mind to program the subconscious, and then you wouldn't have to be conscious of this framework anymore. So that's when ultimately we get into flow.
Definitely.
So
it's interesting because I feel like most of us use our subconscious as stuff to throw into. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with this characteristic. I don't want to be this, so let me throw it into my subconscious and never think about it again. In reality, you have to be aware of your subconscious, as ugly, as dark as it is, just to be like, okay, I know I might have done this. I have this in my subconscious. And that way your subconscious will not control your conscious.
So what you're saying is, like shine light using your conscious mind, shine light onto the subconscious.
Definitely.
And then it's almost like a lighthouse. That's how I see it. Like a lighthouse, you're shining it back on the subconscious. You figure out what's missing, what's keeping you stuck, and then you veer it back to the outside world, and then understand and learn how to reprogram that. So I love that.
Yeah.
Very nice. So when it comes to your previous notion of flow state and authenticity, as we started this episode out with, what do you think, what was your previous notion on those terms?
It's interesting because they keep changing. Like literally maybe a few weeks ago, you would ask me, what's your higher self? And I'd be like, yeah, it's the spiritual self. It's the self that is for others and not for me. And now when you ask me about it, no, it's actually my authentic self. It's the truest form of me. But I feel like although it keeps on changing, but it has this notion of divine consciousness, where it's so much bigger than me. It's not about me, So when I ask myself, what does my higher self think of this? I'm actually trying to peel away the layers in order for me to get really the true answer of what is that and why is that.
I love the way you put it, because a lot of times we think that our authentic self, I mean, I would say before this framework, and to whoever's listening, maybe some of you have gotten like eureka moments, you know, light bulb went off in your head. For some of you, maybe not, maybe it's still coming up. But that authentic self, if we really don't, you know, dive deep into this framework, I believe we attach our authentic self to something we saw, you know, in someone else expressing their authentic self. We take that and we're like, oh, I'm like him, you know, I'm like that guy.
I have to wear.
Yeah, this is the mask I have to wear. So, but little do you know, you're just looking at one aspect of himself, of that person. You're just looking at one aspect and you're saying, oh, that's me. I'm like this person. I'm like that type of person. That's when idealization becomes apparent in humanity.
Exactly. That's
like,
the tricky part. It's because when I see Sharif so accepted by humanity because he is so confident, I think I have to adopt that confidence and wear it as a mask in order to be accepted. But in reality, Sharif wasn't just about confidence. He was accepted for his many metasaurs, and he was accepted because he was authentically himself using these metasaurs. So I cannot, as an outsider, think that, oh, okay, I must be that in order to be, because I feel like humans are, all of us, we're very intelligent. So we know, like, this is what I liked when I looked at Sharif. Okay, that must be, you know, people like this when we talk about Sharif. So I want to be this. But that's when you lose yourself and you lose your authenticity because you're not doing it for the right reasons. And it's actually not about that characteristic. That's not who Sharif is. Sharif is more relatable. He's more friendly. He's more this. He's more that. I feel like that's the tricky part because we think that this is the mask I have to put on. This is the add-on that I need in order for me to be accepted. And that's when you are rejected.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants that. They actually want your truest form. They just want you to be you.
Yeah.
And then you'll be accepted from the right people.
Spot on. Couldn't have been said any better. So basically what you're saying is, you know, if you admire something about, you know, me being here, it's not that you have to copy what I'm doing, you know, because this is me. No one can be me, right? But maybe that is a hint into one facet of these 10 facets of the perfect human that your subconscious mind or your higher self or your authentic self is saying, oh, okay, don't copy him, but look at how he's confident. Try to embody confidence. And that will look different for every single person. So the first surface level of what we notice here is the action of me being confident. But what's underneath that is not action, it's identity. So shifting your identity into being confident, authentically confident, will look different in every single person. But the meta trait, the meta characteristic is the same. It's confidence. But how it plays out in the world will be different for you.
How it comes up for you within is different. You know, like my maybe like your confidence, if I want to adopt your confidence, it might look at me as arrogant, versus if I had the confidence in me come out, it's going to be different. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I want you to dive deeper into that though.
Okay, so let's
Like
say
give me a tangible example, because I know what you're saying.
Okay. It goes back to, like, as you said, how we're wired, right? And how, like, even sperm has some, I don't know, like characteristics, or in your genetics, you're already wired.
Genetic nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're already wired a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once you try to shapeshift in another way that's not authentic, it's not gonna serve you. It's gonna do the opposite. But if you let it shine from within and let the confidence that's already within you shine, that's gonna be different than you adopting or copy pasting someone else's confidence onto you.
Yeah. Has that ever played out in your life, you know, as of recent, maybe?
Not necessarily with confidence, but I feel like it did with, let's say, I would say it did with me being an empath. I feel like I'm already wired that way. I'm a nurturer. I love to nurture people. But I feel like now, recently, I started realizing all the times where I used to do that in a way to people please others, because this is what this person wants from me, versus when I do it because it's something within me talking to me, you know? So I feel like it's a bit complicated, but when I do it, it's not something that I feel obliged to do. It's something that comes so naturally to me. Versus when I feel like it's a mask I have to put on, it's the hardest thing, and it takes a toll on me. It's the hardest thing. I'd be like, I would do it, but I would be so hesitant, and I wouldn't feel like it's authentically me. So it would take a toll on who I am, and I'd feel a bit of resentment towards myself that I am that. Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm just curious as to how that plays out. I mean, what does an authentic empath and a disingenuine empath look like? Because when I think of empath, I think of metasaur number 8. You know, someone that is selflessly giving. You know, so how is that authentic for you, and what does it look like if it's inauthentic?
Well, it's a deep question because like when we say an selfless me, and that's something I really worked on in therapy, because I used to identify myself as a selfless empath, right? But it then took over my identity, because a lot of the times I used to, or people got used to, the people around me got used to me being selfless. So, and I got used to myself being selfless. So I kind of neglected myself. And then that's where I felt like there was a conjunction, I would say, in terms of I didn't want to be that anymore. So I started moving against the grain. I started being more selfish than selfless. It was all coming from outer voices. in order for me to become the person that I was always, to become the person that was always me, was for me to understand that this is where that came from. I was this, and then the pressure of me being that made me this. And so like in reality, I can be this and I can be that. But what's actually true for me is A and not B. But too much of it, or not too much of it, when it's not coming from within me, when it's not coming from a space of higher consciousness, and it's coming from a space of pleasing others, or it's coming from a superficial place, that's when B comes out.
So ultimately, would you say that an inauthentic version of your selfless contribution is one that is just one-dimensional? It's just that. It's just selfless contribution, as opposed to the authentic variation of that, which is more integrated with metasaur number 10, which is more confidence and conviction. Or maybe it's balancing number 9, which is selfish optimization, you know? So would you say the authentic selfless contribution, or the authentic number 8 facet of yourself, is one that is balanced with number 9 or number 10?
Yes, it's definitely one that is balanced, and it's also one that's more aware as to where that is stemming from. Meaning, you know, a lot of people are selfless, but in reality, it's selfless because you couldn't listen to your inner self. You know, being an empath could be you identifying with others because you cannot identify with the person that you are. So I feel like that's the balance. That's my personification of it.
And by the way, whoever's listening right now, you could see, like, you don't just balance one with another. Sometimes, in some cases, you must balance one with like 2 others or 3 others. So in Noor's case right now, it's more of balancing it with the mindful aspect of yourself. Okay, becoming more mindful, becoming more introspective as well, you know? So that's how you believe you can remedy that imbalance. For someone else, it might be remedying this imbalance through more confidence, or through more optimization, or through more being and mindfulness. Okay, so only you can answer that for yourself.
Definitely. It's like, what are my own guiding principles for alignment? And I feel like that's the thing with us as human beings, we adopt that guiding principles from the people who raised you. So you just be like, okay, my parents are this, and that, so I am this, and that. Like, as you grow older, you should see them as like your soul agreements. What do I want to be, and why? Where is that stemming from?
What do I want to be and why? I love that. I believe it stems from values, your values.
Definitely. But it's not like copy pasting the values of your father or your mom and then adopting them as yours. No, it's more like, okay, now that I am aware of what values are and what my parents embody as values, what are mine and why? What are my soul agreements? Who do I want to be?
Yeah, I love that. So Noor, as we wrap up, I just have a final question for you. What if you were to take this whole episode and dumb it down into, you know, 1 or 2 pieces of advice for your younger self, what would you tell that person?
Wow. I would say for a younger version, or
Yeah, young you watching right now, because I have
I
a
would say
feeling there might be that person watching right now.
I would definitely tell her to listen more to yourself without judgment and never abandon yourself. Like, even if things come up where they're not really pretty, of like, okay, I am asking what are my thoughts telling me, and your thoughts weren't pretty. It's okay. Don't abandon yourself. Just listen with curiosity and question it.
Love that. I'm sure she will take that to heart. She's she was listening right now.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What a deep episode. I feel like we touched on so many facets. Pretty much you could say this is a holistic fucking episode. Very holistic. So
Perfect for episode 1.
yeah, actually. It just came into fruition just like that.
Yes.
So yeah, I hope you liked it, whoever's listening as well. If you have any topics, questions that you would like for us to address on the next episode, feel free to leave them in the comments or in the community if you're watching this from inside the Hero's Den. And I would love to, you know, address them all. So thank you so much for being here fully, Noor.
Thank you. And thank you for whoever is listening. I hope they enjoyed it.
Awesome. We'll talk soon. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye-bye.